Most people don't lose their dreams because they failed. They lose them because they waited too long to begin. You felt it before, that quiet whisper that says, not today, maybe tomorrow. A tiny delay that feels harmless, but secretly rewrites your life. Waiting is comfortable. It protects us from risk, from judgment, from the pain of trying. But over time, waiting becomes who we are. We start calling ourselves procrastinators, unmotivated, inconsistent. Yet the real story is deeper. We're scared. Scared of not being enough, scared of starting badly, scared of being seen. We tell ourselves we'll start when we feel ready, not realizing that readiness is not an emotion, it is a consequence of action. You didn't learn to walk by studying balance. You walked by failing, falling, pulling yourself up again. Somewhere in adulthood, we began demanding certainty before movement, clarity before effort, confidence before exposure. And in that subtle shift, dreams began dying. Life didn't get in the way. Hesitation did. Time didn't disappear. Courage did. And slowly, we adapted to waiting. We wait for money, for time, for motivation, for confidence, for the perfect moment, for approval. But nothing arrives, because the world doesn't get quieter for your beginning. It gets louder. Responsibilities grow. Doubts multiply. People expect more from you. And ironically, the older we get, the more we wait, thinking someday will feel clearer than today. But someday is a mirage. Every time you chase it, it moves further away. Look at your past. There were moments you were capable, but you told yourself later. Those opportunities faded not because you weren't ready, but because you never stepped toward them. The tragedy isn't that people fail. The tragedy is that they never try long enough to discover their ability. Confidence is earned after embarrassment. Skill is built after incompetence. Strength grows after weakness. You become capable only when you stop waiting for capability. Psychologists have a name for this trap: the illusion of readiness, the belief that one day you'll wake up fearless, focused, committed, inspired. But that day never comes, because emotional readiness isn't a starting requirement. It's a reward for showing up. Think of every milestone in your life: school, relationships, work. Were you truly ready for any of them? Or did you learn while you were already inside the experience? That same law governs everything meaningful. You don't learn before doing, you learn because you're doing. The hidden cost of waiting is identity erosion. The longer you postpone action, the more you see yourself as someone who doesn't act. Doubt becomes part of your personality. You start calling yourself lazy, unmotivated, undisciplined, when in truth, you are simply avoiding discomfort. The brain is ancient. It doesn't care about your goals, it cares about avoiding risk. Writing that book? Risk. Starting that business? Risk. Changing your life? Risk. So it whispers the sweetest lie ever invented: later. Later lets you feel safe. Later lets you dream without exposure. Later lets you imagine greatness without confronting effort. But later is venom disguised as comfort. Every great regret humans carry when they look back is the same: I wish I had started sooner. But think about what that implies. The pain isn't in failing, it is in waiting. Because once time moves, it never returns. You don't realize the price until something inside you dies. That dream you replayed in your head, that idea you were proud of, that version of yourself you thought you would become. At some point, reality forces a confrontation. You are no longer becoming the person you imagined. You are becoming the person you repeatedly choose to be. Here is a truth that hurts before it liberates. You will never feel ready. Readiness is not the beginning, it is the result of beginning. People don't start businesses because they are confident. They build confidence because they started. People don't run marathons because they are strong. They become strong because they run. People don't write books because they are inspired.
They become inspired because they write. Movement creates meaning, not the other way around. So, where does your transformation begin? It begins in the smallest possible movement, not in leaps, not in massive motivation, but in one action, tiny, unimpressive, unremarkable. Because action does not need to be dramatic to generate change, it just needs to exist. The brain resists mountains, but it accepts pebbles. Start for 5 minutes. Start with one sentence. Start with one decision. Because the moment you begin, something shifts. The brain switches allegiance. The same mechanism that resisted action starts craving continuation. Momentum is neurological. The hardest part isn't doing work, it's beginning it. The people you admire weren't more motivated. They were more willing to start before they felt ready. They didn't know how things would unfold. They acted anyway. And the truth is, most people around you are waiting too. Waiting for clarity, waiting for permission, waiting for strength. But the ones who break through, they don't wait. They commit. Not with confident hearts, but with uncertain hands. They walk toward discomfort, not because it feels good, but because they realize comfort is a prison disguised as peace. Your life will always contain uncertainty, fear, doubt, obstacles, fatigue. If you wait for their absence, you will wait forever. But if you move despite them, they begin losing power. Discipline isn't born from motivation. Motivation is born from discipline. You don't get inspired, then act. You act, then get inspired. Maybe this is the moment you recognize how much waiting has cost you. You delayed your ideas, your health, your goals, your potential. But that realization is not defeat. It is awakening. Because awareness is the beginning of agency. You cannot change your past hesitations, but you can change what you do next. Life isn't asking for heroic action, it is asking for movement. Imagine if today you started, not big, not perfect, not certain, just started. Imagine the compounding effect of small actions repeated. Imagine how differently your life could unfold if instead of waiting, you leaned in. Fear wouldn't disappear, but you would grow larger than it. Doubt wouldn't leave, but you would walk faster than it. You would finally understand motion is the antidote to procrastination, progress is the cure for hesitation, and beginnings are the seeds of habit.